Hey guys, welcome back. Here we are at Haven. I do want to chat to some of my companions before I go looking for new companions. I need new companions. There's certain ones I want to take along.
Ally with
There's
the
a dwarf.
Templars, I'd imagine. I've seen them weaken
There's
magic.
Liliana.
What about the rebel mages?
But to be honest, the first person
Probably
I'd like to
made
talk
that
to
damn
is
breach.
There was
Solus.
no word for heaven or
Yep. So, that's the war room. Josephine, no, thank you. Liliana, Varric, Solus.
earth or sea or sky. All that existed was silence. Then the voice of the Maker rang out. The first
Right.
word. And his word became all that
Okay. Let's not wander aimlessly here. There he is. The man I was looking for.
The chosen of Andraste, a blessed hero sent to save us all.
I've no interest in being a hero. All I want is to find a way to seal this breach.
Pragmatic, but ultimately irrelevant. I've journeyed deep into the Fade in ancient ruins and battlefields to see the dreams of lost civilizations. I've watched as hosts of spirits clash to reenact the bloody past in ancient wars both famous and forgotten. Every great war has its heroes. I'm just curious what kind you'll be.
What do you mean, ruins and battlefields?
Any building strong enough to withstand the rigors of time has a history. Every battlefield is steeped in death. Both attract spirits. They press against the veil, weakening the barrier between our worlds. When I dream in such places, I go deep into the Fade. I can find memories no other living being has ever seen.
You fall asleep in the middle of ancient ruins. Isn't that dangerous?
I do set wards. And if you leave food out for the giant spiders, they are usually content to live and let live.
I think that's honestly impressive, what he does.
I've never heard of anyone going so far into the Fade. That's extraordinary.
Thank you. It's not a common field of study for obvious reasons. Not so flashy as throwing fire or lightning. The thrill of finding remnants of a 1,000-year-old dream? I would not trade it for anything. I will stay there. At least until the breach has been closed.
Was that in doubt?
I am an apostate mage surrounded by chantry forces, and unlike you, I do not have a divine mark protecting me. Cassandra has been accommodating, but you understand my caution.
Here's a moment. Alright. I'm kind of interested in Solus. Well, obviously I'm a heterosexual male. I'm not really interested in, but I think Corvina is. I think, let me give you my reasoning. They're both elves, they're both apostates, they're both mages, and he's a really knowledgeable and interesting guy. He knows things that no one else knows. I think, just from an objective perspective, that makes him an attractive person. So I am telling him he can trust me.
You came here to help, Solus. I won't let them use that against you.
How would you stop them?
However I had to.
Thank you. But now let us hope either the Mages or the Templars have the power to seal the breach.
Wonder what else he has to say. That was a good dialogue. I like that.
Closing the breach is our primary goal. But I hope we might also discover what was used to create it. Any artifact of such power is dangerous. The destruction of the Conclave proves that much.
Huh.
You don't think whatever created the explosion was destroyed in the blast?
You survived, did you not? The artifact that created the breach is unlike anything seen in this age. I will not believe it destroyed until I see the shattered fragments with my own eyes.
I'm not just agreeing superfluously. I think he's a smart guy. He's making valid points.
We would do well to try to recover whatever created the breach.
Liliana's people have scoured the area near the blast and found nothing. Whatever the artifact was, it is no longer there. In any case, did you need me for anything?
I want to investigate more. Yeah, it's worth it, man. I mean, ultimately, this is what BioWare games come down to, the dialogue. And it's worth spending the time engaging in conversation, I think. Especially Solus seems to me by far the most interesting companion. I mean, a apostate mage who wanders in the Fade and dreams in the Fade to discover ancient civilizations. That's fascinating.
I'd be interested in hearing your opinions on elven culture.
I thought you would be more interested in sharing your opinions of elven culture. You are Dalish, are you not?
Proudly.
My people come from the elves who refused to surrender when humans broke their treaty and destroyed the Dales.
Your keeper was not wrong about that, at least. We must mark the occasion of the Dalish remembering something correctly. Perhaps we should plant a tree.
You insult my people.
They insult themselves. Remember, I have walked the memories of the Fade. I have seen the history the Dalish imitate.
The Dalish are trying to restore elven history. If you know something new, share it.
Would your clan listen to what I had learned in my studies? My travels? Or would they mock the Flatir and his stories and go back to their ruins? At least you are asking. But here's something. I will answer as I can.
Is the magic they teach in the Circle different from the magic I learned with my people?
No and yes. Magic is magic, just as water is water, but it can be used in different ways. Dalish magic is more practical, not needing chantry approval, although they still frown on blood magic. Superstition. Much of it is more subtle. A legacy from when elves were immortal.
Special.
The legends of elven immortality. Did they use magic to increase their lifespan?
No. It was simply part of being elven. The subtle beauty of their magic was the effect, not the cause of their nature. Some spells took years to cast. Echoes would linger for centuries, harmonizing with new magic in an unending symphony. It must have been beautiful.
You said that the censure against blood magic was a superstition.
I did. It's fortunate Cassandra is not within earshot. Most modern cultures forbid blood magic. Publicly, even Devinter disapproves of it. But as I said, magic is magic. It matters only in how it is used.
Blood magic seems interesting. It does.
I'd be interested in learning more about blood magic.
I would teach you if I knew it. Unfortunately, using blood magic seems to make it more difficult to enter the Fade. You understand why I never bothered to learn it. A shame, as it is extremely powerful, provided it remains a tool, not a crutch, nor a passion.
I'd like to know more about the elves from before our time.
The Dalish strive to remember Hallam Sharal. But Hallam Sharal was merely a fumbling attempt to recreate a forgotten land.
Arlathan.
Elvanan was the empire, and Arlathan its greatest city. Place of magic and beauty, lost to time.
Okay, so those of you not steeped in the lore, I mean, I know all the background, so let me just give you the breakdown. In Thedas, in the continent and Dragon Age, the elves used to be immortal. This was before the coming of humans and dwarves and everyone. They were essentially the sole inhabitants, to the best of my knowledge. Incredibly powerful, incredibly in tune with nature, and functionally immortal. And we don't know the details, but apparently they lost that immortality. The human barbarians came, this is a typical trope, came, you invaded. You see similar stuff with Skyrim, the invasion of Skyrim by the Nord people. versus the snow elves and so on and so forth. So it's a standard trope, but yes, they used to be immortal and possess great power. They lost that. The Dalish, of course, are sort of elven separatists. They just stick with each other. My Inquisitor, of course, is a Dalish elf, hence her overly done attachment to the Dalish people. And then you have city elves who live amongst humans, are usually looked down upon and treated like shit. Just in case you didn't know that.
You've studied ancient elves. What else do you know of Alathan?
We hear stories of them living in trees, and imagine wooden ramps or Dalish Erebels. Imagine instead spires of crystal twining through the branches, palaces floating among the clouds. Imagine beings who lived forever, for whom magic was as natural as breathing.
See?
That is what was lost.
Sounds impressive.
Are all Dalish elves like my clan?
No. Your clan was unique in having enough interest in human affairs to send you to spy upon the Divine meeting. As your clans have been separate for so long, they have all changed, adapting to the lands in which they live. Some are no more than bandits, others trade freely with humans, and some have disappeared entirely into the forests.
So we see, I mean, according to Solus, and I believe him, I think he's well informed, there's not even any uniformity amongst the Dalish people, interestingly enough. Although it seems the Dalish would like to give off the pretense that the Dalish are sort of unique and uniform and striving to regain or attain what was lost in the past.
What can you tell me about elves living in human cities?
The culture in alienages or among the slaves of Tevinter is like any of the impoverished and powerless. They cling to memories of a better past and practice a few rituals to distinguish themselves from humans.
Thank you very much for the conversation.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
I wonder if I could get more conversation out of him. I'm going to try. This was a good conversation. Solus. Wait. Solus.
What can I do for you?
This is there. Ah. I didn't ask him about himself.
I'd like to know more about you, Solus.
Why?
I honestly do respect him. He's got abilities. Yeah, I do respect him.
You're an apostate, yet you risked your freedom to help the Inquisition.
Not the wisest course of action when framed that way.
I appreciate the work you're doing, Solus. I just wanted to know more about you.
I'm sorry. There's so much fear in the air. What would you know of me?
Everything.
What made you start studying the Fade?
I grew up in a village to the north. There was little to interest a young man, especially one gifted with magic. But as I slept, spirits of the Fade showed me glimpses of wonders I had never imagined. I treasured my dreams. Being awake, out of the Fade, became troublesome.
Did spirits try to tempt you?
No more than a brightly colored fruit is deliberately tempting you to eat it. I learned how to defend myself from more aggressive spirits and how to interact safely with the rest. I learned how to control my dreams with full consciousness. There was so much I wanted to explore.
I gather you didn't spend your entire life dreaming.
No. Eventually, I was unable to find new areas in the Fade.
Why?
2 reasons. First, the Fade reflects the world around it. Unless I traveled, I would never find anything new. Second, the Fade reflects and is limited by our imaginations. To find interesting areas, one must be interested.
Ah.
Is this why you joined the Inquisition?
I joined the Inquisition because we were all in terrible danger. If our enemies destroy the world, I would have nowhere to lay my head while dreaming of the Fade.
I wish you luck.
Thank you. In truth, I've enjoyed experiencing more of life to find more of the Fade.
How so?
You train your will to control magic and withstand possession. Your indomitable focus is an enjoyable side benefit. You have chosen a path whose steps you do not dislike because it leads to a destination you enjoy. As have I.
That's nice.
Indomitable focus.
Presumably. I have yet to see it dominated. I imagine that the sight would be fascinating.
A lot of in-depth dialogue. This was well done.
You said you'd traveled to many different places.
This world, or its memory, is reflected in the Fade. Dream in ancient ruins, you may see a city lost to history. Some of my fondest memories were found in crumbling cities, long picked dry by treasure seekers. The best of the battlefields. Spirits press so tightly on the veil that you can slip across with but a thought.
Any place in particular?
I dreamt Dostigar. I witnessed the brutality of the Darkspawn and the valor of the Ferelden warriors. I saw Alistair and the hero Ferelden light the signal fire, and Logain's infamous betrayal of Kaelin's forces.
That's a nice reference. Brings back memories.
I've heard the stories. It would be interesting to hear what it was really like.
That's just it. In the Fade, I see reflections created by spirits who react to the emotions of the warriors. One moment, I see heroic wardens lighting the fire, and a power-mad villain sneering as he lets King Kaelin fall. The next, I see an army overwhelmed and a veteran commander refusing to let more soldiers die in a lost cause.
And you can't tell which is real.
It is the Fade. They are all real.
Have you always traveled and studied alone?
Not at all. I have built many lasting friendships. Spirits of wisdom, possessed of ancient knowledge, happy to share what they had seen. Spirits of purpose helped me search. Even wisps, curious and playful, would point out treasures I might have missed.
Wisdom and purpose.
I don't know of any spirits by those names.
They rarely seek this world. When they do, their natures do not often survive exposure to the people they encounter. Wisdom and purpose are too easily twisted to pride and desire.
You're saying that you became friends with Pride and Desire demons?
They were not demons for me.
Meaning?
The Fade reflects the minds of the living. If you expect a spirit of wisdom to be a pride demon, it will adapt. And if your mind is free of corrupting influences, if you understand the nature of the spirit, they can be fast friends.
I've never heard that before. I thought spirits were completely separate entities from demons with no... I mean, apart from being antagonistic and diametrically opposed to each other in alignment and function. I mean, wisdom versus pride and so on. And wow. Temperance versus rage and so on. Wow.
I'm impressed that you could become friends with spirits.
Anyone who can dream has the potential. Few ever try. My friends comforted me in grief and shared my joy. Yet, because they exist without form, as we understand it, the Chantry declares that spirits are not truly people. Is Cassandra defined by her cheekbones and not her faith? Varric by his chest hair and not his wit?
You have an interesting way of looking at the world, Solus.
I try. And that isn't quite an answer.
I look forward to helping you make new friends.
That should be... well...
That isn't quite an answer either. We'll talk later.
I'm going to absolutely exhaust the conversation possibilities because it's just really interesting talking to him.
What can I do for you?
What do you know about the Fade?
A great deal, from my wanderings. There are few hard facts, but I can share what I have learned.
Okay. Wow, this guy has tons of dialogue. It's great.
I'd like to know more about the breach.
Simply put, it is a tear in the veil between this world and the Fade, allowing spirits to enter the world physically. Small tears occur naturally when magic weakens the veil, or when spirits cluster at an area that has seen many deaths. But your mark allows you to exert some control over the breach. That means it was created deliberately.
Deliberately.
I'd like to know more about the Veil.
Circle mages call it a barrier between this world and the Fade. But according to my studies in ancient elven lore, that is a vast oversimplification. Without it, imagine if spirits entered freely. The Fade was not a place one went, but a state of nature like the wind.
It sounds like it would be wonderful.
And dangerous. But yes, a world where imagination defines reality. Where spirits are as common as trees or grass. Instead, spirits are strange and fearful. And the Fade is a terrifying world touched only by mages and dreamers. I am glad that I'm not alone in seeing the beauty of such a world, along with the obvious peril.
The demons. I want to know about the demons.
I'd like to know more about demons.
Your Dalish say the demons hate the natural world and seek to bring their chaos and destruction to the living. But such simplistic labels misconstrue their motivations, and in so doing, do all a great disservice. Spirits wish to join the living, and a demon is that wish gone wrong.
Is there a way to coexist? To live with them? If not in peace, at least without such active confrontation.
Not in the world we know today. The veil creates a barrier that makes true understanding most unlikely. But the question is a good one, and it matters that you thought to ask.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, there probably is more dialogue, but I mean, I could probably spend my entire Let's Play just talking to Solus, and for now, I want to make some progress with actual gameplay. This is going to be a long playthrough, guys, I can guarantee you. I mean, at this rate.
What do dwarves do when magic gets out of control?
Talk to Liliana.
We call the Templars, just like the rest of you.
Even down in Orzammar?
Friend, I've never even seen Orzammar.
Blessed are the peacekeepers, the champions of the just. Blessed are the righteous, the lights in the shadow. In their blood, the Maker's will is written. Is that what you want from us? Blood? To die so that your will is done? Is death your only blessing? You speak for Andraste, no? What does the Maker's prophet have to say about all of this? What's his game?
What?
How is this a game?
Do you see the sky? What about the temple ruins? The bones lying in the dust? Even if you didn't support the Divine's peace, you wouldn't call this right. Who could? So many innocent lives. The faithful murdered where the holiest of holies once stood. If the Maker willed this, what is it if not a game or a cruel joke?
I'm not too sympathetic to your chantry, Liliana. No offense.
Awful things happen every day. Get used to it.
Get used to being a pawn? To be discarded when the Maker's done with you? The chantry teaches that the Maker abandoned us. He demands repentance for our sins. He demands it all. Our lives, our deaths. Justinia gave him everything she had, and he let her die.
Yeah, that's because maybe the whole chantry story is a bunch of made-up mumbo-jumbo. Ever think about that?
People are killed all the time.
If the Maker doesn't intervene to save the best of his servants, what good is he?
I agree.
I used to believe I was chosen, just as some say you are. I thought I was fulfilling his purpose for me, working with the Divine, helping people. But now she's dead. It was all for nothing. Serving the Maker meant nothing.
I'm not really the best person to talk to. Doesn't the Chantry have people for this?
So I should let a priest comfort me? No, this is my burden. I regret that I even let you see me like this. It was a moment of weakness. It won't happen again. Come, to work then. We will speak later.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not exactly the best person. Sorry, Corvina is not the best person to speak to in terms of chantry affairs. I do want to talk to my friend Derek. Well, he's not my friend yet, is he?
So, now that Cassandra's out of earshot, are you holding up all right? I mean, you go from being the most wanted criminal in Thedas to joining the armies of the faithful. Most people would have spread that out over more than one day.
Yeah, well, difficult.
None of this shit should have happened.
You don't know the half of it. For days now, we've been staring at the breach, watching demons and maker knows what fall out of it. Bad for morale would be an understatement. I still can't believe anyone was in there and lived.
If it was that bad, why did you stay? Cassandra said you were free to go.
I like to think I'm as selfish and irresponsible as the next guy, but this... Thousands of people died on that mountain. I was almost one of them. And now there's a hole in the sky. Even I can't walk away and just leave that to sort itself out.
The breach needs to be sealed. The sooner the better.
If it can be sealed, you might want to consider running at the first opportunity. I've written enough tragedies to recognize where this is going. Heroes are everywhere. I've seen that. But the hole in the sky, that's beyond heroes. We're going to need a miracle.
What else do you have to say, Varric?
Need something?
Oh, wow. Just full of dialogue. Huh.
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered. Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
How do you and Cassandra know each other?
You heard about the Kirkwall Chantry being destroyed? The guy responsible used to be a friend of mine. The Seeker had questions about that, and I had answers.
The guy responsible. I'm pretty sure it's a female in my background, but maybe that was just part of it. Huh. Tell me about the crossbow.
Where did you get that crossbow? I've never seen one like it.
Bianca? She's one of a kind. I got her off a guy in Darktown. Took me a week to pry his dead fingers off the stock.
Who is she named for?
I can't tell you.
And the reason for that is?
Complicated. It's the one story I'll never tell. We just have to leave it at that.
Are you from Ferelden? Olay?
Free marches, born and raised in Kirkwall. And despite whatever you've heard, no, Kirkwall's not that bad.
What does he do?
I'm not clear on your line of work. You're a merchant?
I'm a businessman. My family has a seat in the Dwarven Merchants Guild. Merchants buy and sell goods. Businessmen buy and sell stores. In my spare time, I manage a spy network, and occasionally, I write books.
If you've run a spy network, why is Leliana our spy master?
To be honest with you, she's just a better spy master. The truly great ones can keep their distance. They don't get attached to their people. Me, I always wind up babysitting my informants and worrying about their families. We're in better hands with her.
You're an author. What kind of books have you written?
I've tried my hands at a few genres. My crime serials are my most popular. Hard in Hightown, guards breaking the rules to get things done. The Tale of the Champion is the most famous thing I've written, or infamous maybe. I started a romance serial once, Swords and Shields, but to be honest, I don't have a knack for romances. Most of my stories end in tragedy. Probably that says something unfortunate about me personally.
What sort of shops do you own?
Actually, we don't own shops. That was just an example. Mostly we invest in moneylenders. Auction houses, a few mercenary companies, a couple of smithies. I think we own half a beet plantation in Ravane somewhere. Most of that's my brother's doing. Bartrand had business sense. Not much tact, but loads of business sense.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem.
Travel, yeah. I'm still supposed to travel to Lady Giselle. I'd like to know about Hawk for sure.
I read your Tale of the Champion, and I have a few questions.
That's a pretty common reaction. Go ahead.
Orsino's fate.
In the book, you say that first Enchanter Orsino turned himself into a giant monster made of corpses. How? Why?
Do I look like an expert on magical weirdness to you? Well, I can't tell you how. For the why, all I can say is he was desperate.
Your book doesn't say what happened after the Arishok left Kirkwall.
He kind of lost the Tome of Koslan again, along with the thief. As I understand it, he returned to Parvalan to find the Kunari equivalent of a court-martial waiting for him.
Oh.
There's a new guy named Arishok now, and asking about the old one is a nightmare of logic and grammar.
Where are the rest of Hawk's associates now?
Meryl decided to look after the elves left homeless by the fighting. She's done a pretty good job of keeping them away from the Mages and Templars, so far. I guess she has plenty of practice avoiding stupid human battles with her old Dalish clan. Fenris has kept himself busy, hunting down the Tevinter slavers who came south to prey on the refugees. I'm not sure exactly where he is at the moment. You can usually follow the trail of corpses, though. Sebastian went back to Starkhaven. I'm sure he's boring all sorts of people there. Hawk's little brother was off on some warden business near the Anderfell's border last I knew. Aveline is still guard captain. I'm pretty sure Kirkwall would fall into the sea if she quit her job.
Huh. Good to know. Is there more dialogue? Oh, Red Lyrium. I forgot to ask him about Red Lyrium.
Need something?
The red lyrium we found at the temple seemed to upset you.
My brother Bartrand and I sort of discovered Red Lyrium during an expedition in the Deep Roads. We located an ancient Tig, so old it barely looked dwarven. There was this idol there made of it. Bartrand brought it back to the surface, and, well, everything's gone downhill from there.
So what is it? Just another kind of lyrium?
The red stuff is lyrium like a dragon is a lizard. It's not just a different color. It has a whole host of weirdness all its own. I've written to every mining cast house in Orzammar. No one's seen this stuff before or knows where it came from.
I think this is actually important to talk about because I have this feeling, just a feeling that Red Lyrium is going to be important in this game.
What makes it special?
Regular lyrium can mess you up pretty badly, but you have to ingest it for that to happen. Red lyrium messes with your mind when you're just near the stuff. You hear singing, get violent, paranoid, and then it does creepy shit. Makes things float, brings statues to life. It also turned Kirkwall's Knight Commander to lyrium. Everyone's been kept at least 100 paces from it since.
How did the red lyrium get in the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I don't know. So as far as I knew, the only piece to make it to the surface was destroyed. And the location of the Tig it came from is a secret. Did someone find more of it in the Deep Roads? That's not a cheery thought.
I think that's enough on red lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject.
So much to do. So yeah, you saw that pop up. Okay, maybe I should at the very least take care of this cleric, or take care of her. Address the cleric issue and talk to her to get Chantry support, even though I find that personally nonsensical. But
You dislike the Templars, sister?
No, I know their purpose, but
You remember I once ministered in a circle church.
there's still more things to talk
Yes,
about.
I assumed you were used to having
There were so many questions surrounding Faria's death. Did he think we wouldn't notice? He's killed Faria, one of my best agents, and knows where the others are. You know what must be done. Make it clean. Painless if you can. We were friends once.
Glad to see traitors are dealt with quickly.
We must do whatever it takes to protect our interests. I am pleased that you agree.
I have no tolerance for traitors.
You take a harsh view, but I suppose that is the way in these troubled times. We will make the Inquisition a force to fear. Now, if you're happy, I have more work to do.
Do you have more dialogue?
Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
Why do you want me to seek out the rebel mages? Why do you care?
I've known mages. Some of them were better people than me. And yet I'm free and they're not. It's not right.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'm down with it.
They called you the left hand of the Divine.
That they did? What of it?
Man, so much dialogue. Okay, this particular Let's Play is going to be all about dialogue.
I'd like to hear about Justinia. What was she like?
A friend. A mentor. Like me, she had secrets. Made mistakes. It made her human. I think her followers responded to that.
Yeah.
Was there something more than friendship between you?
You're asking if we were lovers? Typical. I was devoted to her, therefore it must be romantic. Love is common. Love is simple. My bond with Justinia was something greater. She was a sister, a mother, a teacher. So to answer your question, yes, it was more than friendship.
How did you and Justinia meet?
I met her a long time ago, before she became divine. Before she was Justinia. When I met her, she was Mother Dorothea. I was at my lowest. Broken, lost. And she saved me. No, wait. She hates it when I say that. I saved myself. She just showed me it was possible.
We'll talk more later.
Indeed. Actually, I want you to talk about yourself, Leon.
I'm listening.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Bards tell tales. I bet you tell some good ones.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
Yeah. Very talkative.
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, an Orlesian spy for many years. For a time, I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
Would I really like to be a bard? I want to roleplay my character. My character has no interest in being a bard.
I should leave you to your work.
We can always talk later.
Yeah. Let's leave it at that. Have some more dialogue, maybe.
Start tearing up shirts then.
they
The
sang
Inquisition can
hymns
afford
of
fancy.
Let's see. Who is there? Solus. Talk to him. Liliana. Varric. Josephine. Cassandra. In the war room. Okay, so I should go to the war room since this is a dialogue episode.
They could do anything. They just
And talk to my
created nothing.
associates.
No sky maker. You were the sky. When there
Researcher
was
Minave
no
wishes
earth,
to
you
verify
were
that the
earth.
infections have decreased in
When there
number.
was nothing, you were everything.
Who is this?
With passionate breath does the darkness creep. It is the
Blessed are the righteous.
Do I have to summon the war
lights
council?
in the shadow. In their blood, the Maker's will is written.
Ah, no, I don't.
The Inquisition cannot remain, Ambassador, if you can't prove it was founded on Justinian's orders.
This is an inopportune time,
that
Marquis.
nose.
More of the faithful flock
Impressive.
here each day. But allow me to introduce you to the brave soul who risked her life to slow the magic of the breach. Mistress Lavelan, this is the Marquis d'Aurelion, one of Divine Justinia's greatest supporters.
And the rightful owner of Haven. House d'Aurelion lent Justinia these lands for pilgrimage. This Inquisition is not a beneficiary of this arrangement.
This is the first I've heard of Haven having an owner outside the Chantry.
My wife, Lady Machin of Denver, has claimed to Haven by ancient treaty with the monarchs of Ferelden. We were honored to lend its use to Divine Justinia. She was a woman of supreme merit. I will not let an upstart order remain on her holy grounds.
Stuff it, dude. Or stow it.
Demons are pouring from the sky, and you're worried about land claims.
Haven is the Durelion's rightful property.
Has Empress Selene officially acknowledged your possession of Haven? I was unaware Her Imperial Majesty had conferred with Ferelden's monarchs on this matter.
The Empress has not yet had the opportunity to do so.
We face a dark time, Your Grace. Divine Justinia would not want her passing to divide us. She would, in fact, trust us to forge new alliances to the benefit of all, no matter how strange they might seem.
I'll think on it, Lady Montilyet. The Inquisition might stay in the meanwhile.
As if you have much of a choice, buddy.
Do the Durelions actually have a claim on this place?
His Grace's position is not so strong as he presents it. Despite their Ferelden relations, the Durelions are our legion. If the Marquis wishes to claim Haven, Empress Selene must negotiate with the Ferelden on his behalf. Her current concerns are a bit larger than minor property disputes.
Why do you have that nose? Sorry. That's rude.
His Grace was all bluster then.
Even should he leave, the Marquis will share his thoughts on us upon his return to Val Royeaux. Every guest we receive, and we will receive them, will spread the Inquisition's story. An ambassador should ensure the tale is as complimentary as possible.
May I ask, what brought you to work for the Inquisition?
Sister Liliana approached me. We've been acquainted for quite some time. For better or worse, being the Inquisition's diplomat has become as interesting as she promised.
What sort of dealings have you had with nobility?
For some years, I was the royally appointed court ambassador from Antiva to Orlais. The nobility of Thedas is a rather singular sphere. Those I'm not acquainted with, I know through reputation.
Politics.
If every noble wandering by is as stubborn as the Marquis, what good is talking to them?
Every kingdom is subject to its lords. The Inquisition will require their goodwill to survive. But please excuse me. I've much work to do before the day is done.
Excused. Who's this? Oh. Turn in research. What? There's so much to do.
We will study that.
Ah, okay. So she is, I imagine, the mage researcher.
You're the Herald. Or, well, the one they're calling the Herald, anyway. It's odd to see them accepting a mage as their hero. Especially a Dalish elf. One look at your face and it's clear you were never part of a circle.
Damn right.
My name is Maeve. I research demons and other creatures. Seeker Pentagast and I use what I find to help the soldiers fight them.
I found something the demons left behind. Can you use it?
Yes, that's very helpful. Just leave it there and the Tranquil and I will examine it.
Okay.
If you find anything, please bring it in.
What else does she have to say?
You've brought back some fascinating things. We're putting them to good use.
You said you were a mage.
No, just an apprentice. Circle mages must prove themselves in a ritual called the Harrowing. I was never very good at magic. I've got just enough talent to be a danger to other people. But when the mages rebelled, people like me had nowhere to go. The Templars would have killed us. Luckily, Seeker Pentagast took me in, along with the Tranquil I was protecting.
You said Cassandra has you researching creatures.
Yes. If you find anything interesting in your travels, I'd appreciate you bringing it to me.
Will do.
I may be able to find some weakness our soldiers can exploit when fighting various creatures. At the least, some materials are useful for making potions or gear for the Inquisition.
I'll speak with you later.
Thank you again for what you've brought back.
Kind of like modern Solus research in a way. I imagine this is where Seeker Pentagon. No. No, it's not. Where is Cassandra? War room. Solus. Liliana. Cullen. Oh, yeah, they're quite far away. Well, still want to see what's in here.
Repeat the chant of light. Only the word dispels the darkness upon us.
What is this? Oh, XP. The Maker, there was no word. Oh, God. Gods, rather. This is a book on the fictitious Maker. The presumably fictitious Maker. For Corvina does not believe in the Maker, nor is she Andraste's prophet.
You built for them the Golden City, the center of all
Golden City.
creation. And for a time...
On a side note, since this is a dialogue-y episode, those of you, I mean, I have to give these spoilers, who didn't play Dragon Age 2, you know that we fought a original Tevinter mage, supposedly a creator of the Darkspawn, and he speaks of a golden city, right? And this was taken by many people, or rather interpreted by many people, as firm and solid evidence that the chantry tale of the corruption of humanity and Darkspawn that resulted from that corruption is actually accurate and true. I mean, we really heard nothing but more than gibberish and some very unclear allusions to some sort of golden city turned black by this guy Corypheus, and I have a feeling we're going to encounter him or hear from him later on in the playthrough. But frankly, this is not clear evidence for the Maker at all, and I don't know what people are talking about. This is not me just not liking the chantry. It's just there's no solid evidence for it. In any event, moving on, let's finish our dialogue episode here.
Still got demons pouring out of the rifts.
Who are these people? Where is... Oh, they are far ahead, aren't they? Cullen and Cassandra. As in, all the way down here? Yes, indeed. They are. I guess they're training. Great warriors that they are. Look at Cassandra. Let's have some fascinating dialogue with you, Cassandra. What? You're not impressive.
I hope that wasn't meant to be me.
What? That?
You obviously don't like somebody.
Did I do the right thing? What I have set in motion here could destroy everything I have revered my whole life. One day they may write about me as a traitor, a madwoman, a fool. And they may be right.
What does your faith tell you?
I believe you are innocent. I believe more is going on here than we can see. And I believe no one else cares to do anything about it. They will stand in the fire and complain that it is hot. But is this the Maker's will? I can only guess.
You don't think I'm the Herald of Andraste?
I think you were sent to help us. I hope you were.
Yeah, I'm
But
not
the Maker's
Herald.
help takes many forms. Sometimes it's difficult to discern who it truly benefits, or how.
This Inquisition of yours wasn't the smartest move.
Thank you for the ringing endorsement. My trainers always said, Cassandra, you are too brash. You must think before you act. I see what must be done, and I do it. I see no point in running around in circles like a dog chasing its tail. But I misjudged you in the beginning, did I not? I thought the answer was before me, clear as day. I cannot afford to be so careless again.
There is a lot at stake.
You do not have to tell me that. You've said you don't believe you're chosen. Does that mean you also don't believe in the Maker?
Whoa! Well, I don't believe in the elven gods necessarily, but as they say, that's correct.
No, I don't.
I suppose I should not be surprised. I have to believe we were put on this path for a reason, even if you do not. Now it simply remains to see where it leads us.
Cassandra, that was a grand opportunity. Let's see what else she has to
It
say.
occurs to me I don't actually know much about you.
What do you want to know?
I'm not sure. Where are you from?
I thought you knew that.
I suppose I could ask Liliana. She has collected a frightening amount of information on you. But I don't want to ask her. I want to hear it from you.
I'll be frank.
My clan never stayed in one place for long, though we primarily roamed the free marches.
Oh? I didn't think your people roamed that far north. But clearly I'm mistaken. I'm told some members of your clan might still be alive. Do you intend to go back?
I think there's more to meets the eye to Corvina. She's not just I'm a Dalish elf and that's it. She does have the background; it's part of her background, but there's something else to her. So,
If I ever go back, it will be too soon.
Really? That is good to know, I suppose.
I'd like to get to know you better.
that's
You would.
not true.
Is that a problem?
Not entirely. I'm just curious as to your motivation.
Wait, I can hit on her?
Just answer the question.
As you wish. My name is Cassandra Pentecost, daughter of the Royal House of Navarra, 78th in line for the Navarran throne. I joined the Seekers of Truth as a young woman, and was with the Order until they withdrew from the Chantry. I remained as the Divine's right hand, carrying out her order to form the Inquisition. And here we are. That's all there is to know, my lady.
You're a member of Navarro's royal family.
The Pentaghasts are a very large clan. Half of Cumberland could say the same.
Really?
No, but it feels that way. I have hundreds of relatives so distant they need charts to prove we're related at all. And they have them. Oh yes. The Pentaghasts value their precious blood like it runs with gold.
You don't think being noble gave you opportunities others don't have?
An opportunity to be decadent, perhaps. To be useless to anyone but myself. The Pentaghasts are famed for dragon hunting, but few actually pursue the craft. Most are fat and lazy. They pay lip service to the Maker and care only for idle pleasures and past glories. My brother was all that kept me in Navarra. Once he was gone, so was I.
Tell me about your brother.
I'd rather not.
So you are the right hand to the Divine?
To Divine Justinia, yes. And Divine Beatrix before her, in fact. The position is normally reserved for Templars of the Knights Divine, but my circumstances were unusual.
Unusual how?
You don't know the story? Thank the Maker. I will tell you if you wish, but it isn't as exciting as some drum it up to be. The short version is that I once saved the previous Divine's life. My reward was becoming her right hand.
But what does a right hand do, exactly?
What is your hand capable of? It gives, it takes, it beckons. It makes a fist. Liliana and I extended the Divine's reach beyond the Grand Cathedral. We went where she could not. After Beatrix, I was tired of the position and wanted to return to the Seekers. But Justinia convinced me to stay. Her vision for the future gave me hope.
You don't seem to like your homeland much.
My family polluted it for me. What little I saw of my homeland was through the bars of a gilded cage. My uncle treated me like a porcelain doll to be placed on a shelf and dusted only when necessary. Thus I did not see Navarra, the real Navarra, until much later. By then I realized I knew it not at all.
Your uncle? What about your parents?
They had the misfortune of taking the wrong side in the second attempt to overthrow King Marcus. The king executed them, but spared my brother and I since we were family, and children at the time. Thus we were raised by my uncle, a Mortalitasi who preferred the company of his corpses to the living.
Mortalitasi.
Your uncle was a Mortalitasi?
A death mage. He still is. My countrymen do not burn the dead, they bury them in special crypts. The Mortalitasi supervise the crypts, like priests. Uncle Vestalis oversees the grand necropolis. Nevarans spend more time honoring dead relatives than they do with living ones. It is odd to be so fascinated with death and its trappings. I will never understand it.
I'll let you get back to work.
Is there more dialogue to be had? Truly.
Go on, then.
Ah, the Chantry.
May I ask you about the Chantry?
It is difficult to say what becomes of the Chantry now. They have no Templars, no leadership, and no one left who is worthy of succeeding the Divine. It has fallen apart when everyone needs it the most. I ache to think what this will mean in the days to come.
Do you really believe the Chantry is worth preserving?
I do. But given your beliefs, I'd hardly be surprised if you disagree. Cast the Chantry aside and new problems replace old ones. We will have learned nothing from history. The people need stability, and the Chantry needs a new purpose. Andraste had a dream for us. It can still be achieved.
Andraste. Well, let me just comment on this. For one, this sounds like some sort of sales pitch that the Catholic Church needs new purpose. And two, Andraste, once again, never proven in any real sense as to what she was and what she actually did. All legend and hearsay.
So, what should this new purpose be?
A dedication to what is truly important. Instead of building cathedrals and sewing gowns for the divine, the Chantry used to spend its coin feeding the poor. If we are to spread the Maker's word across the world, we must do so with open hearts and open hands.
One of those.
That sounds rather idealistic of you.
Does it? I do not think it's so unachievable. The Chantry has many good, honest people. They just need direction and inspiration. They need to be freed from centuries of adherence to tradition and ceremony. A chance for renewal is at our fingertips. It does not have to come with utter chaos.
Roderick was the guy giving me shit before.
What influence does Chancellor Roderick really wield?
He's a bureaucrat, responsible for communicating the Divine's will to the rest of the Chantry. Therefore, he's accustomed to the clerics hanging on his every word, hoping his influence will benefit them. Despite that, Roderick is not a bad man. He's frightened, and believes his place is to fill the gap left by Most Holy's death. Some might agree. As far down the chain of command as he is, there is no one left above him.
How big a problem could he be?
No more than he is already. He sent his message to the College of Clerics. That is the only card he had to play. Dealing with him further only lends him credibility he doesn't deserve.
Will the Chantry replace Divine Justinia?
They will try. Once the priests withdraw for the Grand Consensus, it is against Chantry law for them to emerge without naming a new Divine. Sometimes it takes days, or weeks, or even months. The problem now is that no clear successor to Justinia exists. All worthy clerics died with her at the conclave.
So what happens if they can't agree on someone?
Theoretically, they will argue until exhaustion takes them or they see reason. Practically, however, if the Grand Consensus goes on too long, the Chantry will crumble. Any cleric with ambition but little sense will see this as her one chance, and plenty of such clerics exist. We shall see what happens. The Inquisition must act in the meantime.
If they do choose a new Divine, will you serve her?
That depends on whether she would have me. I am a rebel now, remember? And even if she would, I do not know. It would depend on what type of divine she is. I am no longer in a position to follow blindly, and no new divine could expect such obedience now.
I'm surprised you rebelled against the Chantry.
I left my own order when they took the wrong path. It is no different. But in neither case did I stop caring. Indeed, I care so much that I feel drastic action is necessary. I suppose history shall one day judge my actions.
Thank you.
I'll leave it off for there. As in this dialogue, there's still Cullen that I want to talk to. There he is.
You there. There's a shield in your hand. Block with it. If this man were your enemy, you'd be dead. Lieutenant, don't hold back. The recruits must prepare for a real fight, not a practice one.
Yes, Commander.
We've received a number of recruits. Locals from Haven and some pilgrims. None made quite the entrance you did.
That wasn't my idea.
I'd be concerned if it was. I was recruited to the Inquisition in Kirkwall myself. I was there during the Mage uprising. I saw firsthand the devastation it caused. Sir. Cassandra sought a solution. When she offered me a position, I left the Templars to join her cause. Now it seems we face something far worse.
You left the Templars for this. You believe the Inquisition can work?
I do. The Chantry lost control of both Templars and Mages. Now they argue over a new divine while the breach remains. The Inquisition could act when the Chantry cannot. Our followers would be part of that. There's so much we can... Forgive me. I doubt you came here for a lecture.
No.
I hadn't planned on it, no.
Then I shall spare you. There's still a lot of work ahead.
Commander, Sir Raiden has a report on our supply lines.
As I was saying.
I'm not done talking to you, son. I mean, Cullen. Sir Cullen. I want to hear your story about what happened in Kirkwall.
Why would Templars break away from the Chantry?
The Order believes the Chantry no longer supports their efforts. Not to the extent they should.
But the Templars have served the Chantry for ages.
And in that time, they've come to take the Order's services for granted. Templars risk their lives against blood magic, demons, abominations, to feel as if those efforts are dismissed. Now, I may disagree with the Order's actions, but I'm here as proof of that. But I sympathize with their frustrations.
Is there anything I should know?
Not at present.
What do you think of the people you work with?
Who do you mean?
What do you think of our ambassador?
We have little in common. How she delights in meeting with nobles all day is beyond me. But I enjoy working with her.
How do you like working with Leliana?
The Inquisition would not exist without her. I may not always agree with her methods, but she's more passionate about our cause than anyone. Cassandra may have declared the Inquisition publicly. Leliana is just as responsible for its formation.
Are you satisfied with the Inquisition's forces?
Look, that guy doesn't have a head. Look.
Our needs for the time being. Sometimes
He doesn't have a head.
joined us instead of following the
Look,
Order.
no head.
Proven invaluable in training new recruits.
I'm sorry. It's just so weird. There's a headless... No, it's a woman. A headless woman. Good job, BioWare.
I should let you get back to work.
You still haven't told me about what happened in Kirkwall, which I'd like to know. Ah, yeah.
I should get to know you better. We are working together after all.
What would you like to know?
All right. Where are you from?
How to act for Elden. What on earth is this?
I grew up in Ferelden, near Honwell. I was transferred to Kirkwall shortly after the Blight. This is the first I've returned in almost 10 years.
Varric's from Kirkwall. Did you two know each other?
I knew he was friends with the champion of Kirkwall, but little else. We've spoken more since I joined the Inquisition, largely at Varric's insistence. Apparently, I spend too much time with a serious expression on my face, and it's bad for my health.
What was Kirkwall like?
While I was there, Canary occupied and then attacked the city. The Viscount's murder caused political unrest. Relations between Mages and Templars fell apart. An apostate blew up the Chantry, and the Knight Commander went mad. Other than that, it was fine.
Oh, the rebellion, yes, tell me.
What happened between Kirkwall's Mages and Templars?
You were at the Conclave. You must have heard people speak of it.
Yes, but you were there.
There was tension between Mages and Templars long before I arrived. Eventually, it reached a breaking point. There was fighting in the streets. Abominations began killing both sides. It was a nightmare.
What happened then?
The Templars should have restored order, but Red Lyrium had driven Knight Commander Meredith mad. She threatened to kill Kirkwall's champion, turned on her own men. I'm not sure how far she would have gone. Too far.
So you opposed her?
I stood with the champion against her, in the end. I should have seen through Meredith sooner.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight. Did you fight Darkspawn?
No. I was stationed at Ferelden's Circle Tower. The Circle had troubles of its own. I remained there during the Blight.
What happened at the Circle Tower?
Few who survived the Blight have fond memories of that time. I would prefer not to speak of it.
You haven't seen Ferelden in 10 years. Are you glad to be back?
I was not sorry to leave at the time. I did not expect to return.
Headless.
Now, between the Divine's
Headless.
murder and the breach, I've arrived to find nothing but chaos.
Dismissed.
I'll let you return to your work.
Another time, then.
So, I spent the entire time... Now, is that woman still headless? Now she has a head. An elf, no doubt. Ooh. What is this?
See reason, listen.
Loot?
We cannot stay here. Why not?
What is in the loot?
Because we're Templars.
What does that even mean anymore?
A bronze acorn charm.
Fight amongst ourselves instead of protecting the mages.
Ooh.
You're awfully quick to dismiss the people who saved your life, Patrick.
Who is this?
You're the one they're calling the Herald.
If you know a way to make them stop, I'm all ears.
I don't. These things have a way of taking on their own life. But I'm glad it has not run to your head. I did not join the Order to adjust my faith so easily. But I appreciate what the Inquisition is trying to do, and your role is. Though you may find not many Templars do. We're a distrustful lot by nature.
Oh, boy. You know what? I will talk to you later.
I will talk to you later.
Walk in the Maker's grace.
Stop telling me about the Maker. I don't want to hear it. But I will... Lovely landscape. Very nice to look at, admittedly. But I will leave it at here. Leave it off for here. And, yeah, for now, that was a dialogue episode. I hope it was interesting and enjoyable. It was for me. I really liked the Solus conversation. Very, very interesting. Just, it's kind of like talking real life science and philosophy. And yeah, I think objectively, he's an interesting person, and in some sense, it makes him attractive. I think I might actually, well, we'll see. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode, which will hopefully be more action-driven. So everyone take care, and may the gods be with you, not the Maker. Bye-bye.